Hey, welcome to Zach Archer TV, where I talk about movies, television, and specifically reality television as well. And I'm keeping my tradition of doing a short review of every reality TV season I watch now, new ones. And next up is Big Brother. Big Brother is one I've watched for years, and I've been a loyal fan and consumer of Big Brother for many years, maybe longer than Survivor at this point. Survivor's had become my number one, my favorite, but Big Brother will always hold a special place in my heart for sure. And I really enjoyed last season. Season 26 was a lot of fun, and then this season there's a lot of good and a lot of bad. I'll say it's a lot of fun. It really is a fun season. It's chaotic, it's messy, which I actually love in my reality TV. As much as I do appreciate the strategy, and I like talking about strategic decisions and critiquing here or there, I do like a good mess every once in a while. And like, if there's a season with a ton of people making mistakes, I'm fine with it. Honestly, I'm not like bothered that we don't have anybody like a mastermind in there. Look, you want to see competent gameplay. Obviously, the show and the format is often most elevated when you have competent gameplay and people advancing the strategy of the game, of course. But there's nothing wrong with a Gabon here or there. Survivor, Gabon, even Survivor Nicaragua to an extent. Some of those kind of more chaotic character-focused seasons, which is kind of what the season is. Look, this season would be like almost surely an all-timer if not for that Rachel, the White Locust twist. Literally, like it's that big of a deal that it took a huge damper in the season. It stuck the landing competently, at least, but man, was that rough. Just on principle alone, it was such an egregiously bad twist, maybe the worst they've ever done, period. It completely derailed the format of the show in a way we haven't seen before. We've seen day one eliminations, we've seen week one elimination things, and we hated those. That was the common denominator. That was like, please don't do that anymore. And they hadn't done it for seasons, only to come back and take out someone on day 60, 2 months into this game, to be eliminated off a fluke. Of course, it would have been it's a really horrible decision regardless, but I add on the fact that it happened to be Rachel, who was at the center of every storyline at the time, every narrative we've been building up. She's the strategic front runner of the season. She was playing the best, and she's also the fan favorite. So all this compounding into maybe the worst storm of a twist we've ever seen. And as I'm recording this now, we just recently there was an interview with some I forget who exactly, if it was Alison Grodner or other producers, where they basically talked about the twists, defended it, and basically said that there's a possibility they could bring it back in the future. So completely tone deaf. There's an absolute crazy amount of backlash, and it had been clear for a while they don't care what the fans think, but even more so when I just read excerpts of that. That's crazy and really insulting, honestly. It was just such a shame that that's how Rachel went out. Didn't deserve to go that way. Not only was it unfair for her, not only selfishly as a fan of Rachel this season. I wasn't even that much of a fan of her in her older seasons, but specifically this season. Not only that, but on a pure narrative level, it was so awful because we had all these things heating up. Who's going to take a shot at Rachel? No one had nominated her yet. It was like, was Vince going to take a shot? He didn't. And then Keanu was targeting her. What will happen with that? Who knows? And then all that is taken away. Just for a fluke. And I need to double click on this issue a little further. And I'm sorry it's going to take up a chunk of this review, but I think it's worth saying. And I've been wanting to say it for a while now. The reason I take particular issue with the twists, even if we just say If you want to hand wave it and say, expect the unexpected, who knows what can happen? A twist like this can happen. It's fair game. We can say that. We can say she misplayed this. She sucked on the puzzle. Obviously, she sucked on the wheel. She sucked on the maze. No one deserves to be eliminated from the game for sucking at one challenge. It's a complete fluke. It's completely ridiculous. And the fact of the matter is, what was really bothering me is I could look back at all the 26 previous winners of the show. I could see any single one of them being eliminated from this twist. There's no one who could have had any more, like, doesn't matter how much control you have on the game, it would, you can't control this at the end of the day. Because look, say you get what you want. If Rachel got what she wanted and went first, maybe she gets it because she's less rushed, she's less panicky, she actually just thinks about it, just keep going on that wheel. She was stuck in the same stupid part the whole time. Maybe she does that, but maybe she just doesn't do it. And she sucks as bad as it looked like there and continued to suck that badly. Then she strategically got exactly what she wanted and then just loses anyway. And there's no excitement there. There's nothing compelling about that at all. She just lost the challenge and gets out of the game, even though she maneuvered that well. And you look at how it actually played out. Morgan picked her in a spot that she thought she would succeed. She didn't pick her intending to eliminate her. She picked her so that she would be in a good spot, because if they waited for another minute to be cut down, she would be even more vulnerable and probably would be targeted. So in this chain of safety type game, she wasn't even eliminated because they didn't want her safe. It was just because she sucked on the challenge. Any previous winner, the best and most dominant winners, could have gone out in a similar issue. It's like, all right, I got exactly what I wanted. I manipulated everyone's mind to make me go first in this challenge. And then it's like, oh, wait, I suck at this and I'm out. Whoops. And then you just plucked the winner out of that season. Do I know Rachel would have won that season? Am I confident she would have won that season? Absolutely not. She could have been the next voted out, but we'll never know now. And that's the crying shame. And it's kind of this annoying asterisk on the season, because that is a huge ripple effect. You took out the biggest threat in the entire house. You took out the best strategic player in the entire house. And obviously, everything to come from that, you have no idea what it would have actually looked like if the house dynamic was how it should have been at that point. The other issue is the issue of the blockbusters. AI Arena in 26, I thought it was really good, really well executed. This one, of course, they have to take a good thing and kind of really run it into the mud and overstay its welcome past the jury for whatever reason. I don't know, but they did that. And then now we're dealing with it was like a final 7 where 3 people are going to be nominated with a highly likely veto replacement as well. So most of the house is being nominated. It's a mess. And you have people like Keanu, who I started to enjoy towards the end. He was more rootable. But you have Keanu and Kelly, who wouldn't have been there if it weren't for these blockbuster twists. They would have been gone long ago because they played very horribly. And that's like how it should work. But you give people that solely rely on challenges another extra challenge to keep themselves in the game longer and past their expiration date, which is fascinating in some ways, but frustrating in others. And it's even more frustrating considering that everybody throughout most of the season has multiple chances to save themselves. You had the veto competition. Well, multiple phases. You could try to make sure you don't get nominated. Then if you are nominated, you could win the veto or get someone to use veto on you. If you don't have the veto used on you, you could then win the blockbuster. If you're still on the block at the end of the night, you could get the votes for you to stay. There's so many layers to this. And Rachel didn't get any of those. She got one challenge, and it was life or death challenge. It wasn't even like, oh, I didn't win the veto. It's like, I didn't win the veto and I'm going home. That's the vibe, and that's frustrating. So that being said, the season then quickly became the Mintz, the Vorgin cheating show, or the Cheat Man's show, and that became a lot of the drama in the back half after Rachel left, and that was morbidly compelling in different ways. You know, it's like you don't want to look, but you can't help but look at the same time, type of thing. It's like it's a unique vibe, a unique situation we found ourselves in there, but it really took the wind out of the sails of the season for a little bit there when Rachel went. Like Will, you felt the immediate effect of that. He was completely discouraged, and it was like, this is it. I mean, what am I even trying for? It's like going to be the competitions that are going to rule the day. And that's what I thought the end game was shaping up to be. Ashley was similarly very discouraged entirely. Like, she's like, all right, well, I'll be out next. Either I'll be out now or I'll be out next. That kind of thing. That was the vibe. Even Ava was in on that. But we ultimately got an end game that was cool. And we actually got a nice thing for once in the final three, where the underdog, quote unquote, got the win. In a very unique situation. I think it's the only time in U.S. history that the winner, the first HOH they won, was the final HOH. So we got that. Not only we got, first of all, in dramatic fashion when Vince had a complete crash out, and then they had the stupid mastermind reveal in the middle of that, with Dr. Will being dragged away. Vince could not be bothered. He was like, I just blew this challenge. So that was a fun, hectic energy with that. And then for the finale, that was an exciting finale, because I was like, we're not gonna have nice things. Before hearing any of the strategy, I was just assuming, of course, Morgan's probably gonna win this final challenge. She'll vote out Ashley, take Vince, and beat him easily. And that's what I expected. That's what we get from a lot of Big Brother end games. But we got something very different. Not only did Ashley convince Morgan to take her, and she would have taken Ashley over Vince, but Ashley herself was able to win HOH, cut Morgan as she needed to secure the victory against Vince, and it was very satisfying. All right. It's very satisfying. And obviously I was rooting for Ashley a lot towards the end of the game, and I'm glad we got one of the more competent strategic players in the house to win. Like, it's hard to say now because she didn't get to play so much of the game after. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see how Rachel would play the end game. But I'd say she was probably playing the best up to that point. Maybe Will was up there too, but not on the strategic level of Rachel. But then Ashley was right behind her and quickly overtook Will and maneuvered herself out of that vote where she was like almost dead to rights. And she actually had good reads for much of the season, so that was a satisfying winner. I'm most happy with that, especially over Vince, who should have been in an amazing position so many times throughout this game, and in spite of himself, kept finding himself further and further in the game, just in making nothing of it. He was playing a losing game for a long time there. I don't know who he would have won against, really. But so satisfying because they countered out. Vince literally was one of the people saying that Ashley doesn't deserve to be there, even just a few weeks prior. And then ultimately, she was nominated on his HOH the first week as a house target because of her shower gate, only by the virtue of her saving herself with the veto did she survive and then go on to beat him in the final two. That's pretty poetic right there. I mean, that's a satisfying bookend to the story of Big Brother right there. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. Overall, the season was very fun. There was a lot of fun moments, particularly when it came to like Rachel and Keanu and a couple of these fun characters in there. But strategically, there was so many huge blunders. Number one allies being put on the block in multiple situations. Power-ups not being used. People considering not using vetoes or using them with someone else and potentially being screwed. Of course, I'm wearing this outfit because I'm inspired by my favorite player of the season, Riley Jeffries, of course. That was an awful little subplot we had to live through, was Riley's being aggressive, like verbally abusive on the live feeds, and then them just like glossing over it on the show. I love that part of Big Brother as well. But we had that thing. But he made for the most satisfying blindside ever. That was the most satisfying vote because it had to have the perfect storm of things coming together, and they did. And it was so cool to see it unravel because I did not expect it. And super satisfying. So I'm glad for that moment. Some fun moments with the blockbusters throughout. And yeah, so ultimately, I'll say I enjoyed the season. It's one of those seasons that's going to be hard to really sit with my thoughts on it just yet. Gonna have let some time pass from it, because I really enjoyed a lot of it. But then some of the glaring things like that White Locust twist was so bad, and the strategy was so bad. But it was fun. And at the end of the day, that's all I can ask for. The little mastermind reveal where there was 3 different masterminds, and it was Jesse, Frankie, and Eric. That was pretty cool. Eric was especially like for the super fans. I mean, even Jesse is like talking about I would have won Big Brother 11. Like it's funny because not only did almost no one in the house know who those people were, but probably a lot of the modern casuals don't know those people either. So that was, I was gonna say that's cool, but it was also very weird. Like that you can make a whole segment out of horribly robbed people from your own terrible twists on the season where you did the terrible White Locust twist, and then also now proceed to say, oh, we'll probably do it again, or we'll consider doing it again, and they clearly never learned their lesson. It's like, if this was a self-aware thing, it's like, okay, we've learned here, we did fuck up on these, we learned from it, and here we go. Moving forward, we can clean it up. No, it's just like, isn't that funny? We screwed these people over. Wait until the next one. That's gonna be good. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this season of Big Brother. Did you enjoy it? Did you not? What did you like and dislike about it? Where does it stack up in these modern seasons or seasons overall for you? I'm really not sure yet. I'm gonna have to sit with it. Like I said, it's one of the better ones for sure in recent memory. But yeah, that's it. And also Rachel robbed for America's Favorite. Absolutely, just on principle alone, I wanted her to win. But all right, that's it. Subscribe to the channel for more on movies, television, and reality TV. Okay.